Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Thank you to everybody who entered my Lepidoptera raffle. I'm so happy the winner agrees with me that moths are infinitely superior and therefore granted me the honor of making a Polyphemus moth. As you can see, I retired my work iPad for good and printed out not only my winner's desired reference photo, but also the template I made based on the reference photo. Once I cut that out with my X-Acto knife and smoothed it with my fingies, I was able to set it aside and marvel somewhat obsessively at how smooth the clay is, like a toddler watching Cocomelon. After that, I got to the abdomen, which, as I tend to do for moths, I combined with the thorax to make an abdorax, or thordamen. Both of those words are equally awful, and therefore equally suitable for use in this scenario. I was seriously evaluating a few of my bugs, one of which is my immaculate injured emperor moth, and I think the legs were made in a noble effort to be anatomically correct, but were ultimately unnecessarily long, so for my moths moving forward, I would like to embrace their sweet and precious appearance by giving them fluffy, stubby, paw-like legs. Thank you all for accepting my decision and appreciating the illusion I give you of choice on the matter. I saw a random TikToker reel, and I specify TikToker reel because I hate shorts with a passion. That if you put a buffer such as paper or clay between the detailing tool and the clay, it will give you a softer edge. Most people use it to create a buffer around the sharp edge of a cookie cutter tool, but here it really helps to keep the detailing on the moth's wings from being overwhelming. Okay, so moving on. Moths are the kittens of the bug world. They're soft and pretty, furry, big eyes. What else could I say here? So I had to add the fur texture to the body of the moth before the first bake. I also had to add the texture to the wings, except for the wings of simply combing the texture tool across the wings in a slightly overlapping way in the natural direction of the hard lines that we made earlier. After that, I can assemble the parts for the first bake, but first I have to give it structure. Before I give it structure though, I'm trying something new. I'm trying something that I've only attempted once before, and the results were embarrassing. So I never tried it again, until now. DJ reversed the track. I'm making antenna, and they came out fire. They came out straight heat. I am never gonna make a moth without antenna ever again. What I was doing before was straight blasphemy. We got antenna, and now we're ballin'. I am never going back, and the key to my success this time was making it as thin as possible, which is why I was struggling to get them off my glass mat. And then I used my X-Acto knife to cut the ridges into the antenna. Look at that! I am burning your screens right now. If you couldn't guess before, you can probably surmise now that I waited until after the thing baked at least once before adding the head so I could bake it a second time with the addition of the hardened antenna. Also, please ignore that ugly nasty gash on my left forefinger. I got it at my job, and I really should have filed a workers' comp complaint, but I decided to be super new metal hardcore impenetrable chrome hearts nonchalant alt baddie about it, so you know, super cool and brave about it. Here I am, actually adding in the antenna in case you got distracted. My other addition before the final bake is this fluffy part of the Doberman, or anthrax, that pokes through the top. I texture both with my blunt edge tool and the texturizer, using the blunt edge tool for added depth before going in with my texturizer tool to make it fluffy. That's it. If it feels like I finished making the form for this at lightning speed, it's because I did. I finished making the form in less than an hour and a half, excluding baking. I've been making so many Lepidoptera lately, it feels like I have this shit down to a science. I'm going to end the year with a final moth that lots of you asked for in the comments of the Lepidoptera raffle post. So we'll be ending the year off with a bang. It'll be a big win for people who love green and howling at the moon. Anyways, for the paint job. You know what I like. Don't act brand new with me. I double dipped the paintbrush and got to work on multiple gradients for this one. For this third color, it's actually a brownish gray towards the end, before going a hard U-turn back to a bright tan color. Then, you already know I had to blend that bad boy back out. I get such a rush doing this part, you have no idea. Hard drugs, who? Shoot up this sick gradients! For the underside, I just replicated the same gradient as on top because I'm addicted. I didn't replicate the full design because I do have a full-time job, but you know, gradient. Now this tan is brighter than the one on top, even though the one on top is whiter. In some photos, the tan at the top is more of a reddish color, but when creating the paint colors that I'm using, I'm going off the specific reference photo that the winner told me they wanted. I am at their mercy. But between me and you, my humble beguiling viewer, I am so relieved that the chosen moth was actually interested to look at. Honestly, the mass majority of moths that people said they would choose were so stunning. The number one moth that people said they would get though was the rosy maple moth. So I will definitely have to make that moth in 2026. Here I am laying out the groundwork for the pink accents. That's another reason I like this moth so much. It's so cutesy girly Pinkie Pie shy girl demure with the pink ribbon it has going across, but it's also so jarring with its eye spots. Hence the name Polyphemus moth, after the Cyclops, even though Cyclops means one eye and this moth has two, technically four. But hey, I'm not an entomologist, so let me shut my dumb ass up, I guess. I cut out a tiny piece of paper because I was so scared of the eye spots being asymmetrical. I would have been genuinely embarrassed and just not uploaded a video for November if that happened. So I traced the paper, then filled it in with paint, then threw away the paper. And for the big spots, I was like, I got that, it's whatever. After I blocked that out, I went ahead and went over the white primer parts with the brightest, cutesy, girliest pink I got in my inventory. I almost wanted to tie a ribbon on her somewhere because she's so stinking cute. I was bugging over the pink a little bit though, because I was like, let me use a sparkly bright pink. And then I was like, no, let me use this slightly more metallic pink. And then I was like, no, let me go over with the original bright pink. So the darker pink for as a trim, just for me to, spoiler alert, go over that trim with the bright pink again when it comes time for me to add the pointillism. Like, give it a rest already. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. But that's what's so fun about making these, is I get to obsess over making it look cool and cooler still in the new year. But speaking of 2026, please boss me around more. Please tell me what you want from me. What I'm trying to say is please don't hesitate to put random bug suggestions in the comments. If it's cool and enough people suggest it, I might make it. You never know. I have high hopes for 2026. I have high hopes for every year that I'm alive, but that's just me. You all should have high hopes for your 2026 as well. I'm even going to do another bug sculpture raffle for you all, so tell me what kind of bug type I should center next year's raffle around. I'm thinking beetles. But my worst fear is that the winner chooses the most uninteresting looking beetle on the planet. So we'll see. Anyways, look at how perfect the heavy contrast of the navy blue makes the whole thing pop. I used 3 different shades of blue for the pointillism along here that you see me doing now to have another subtle gradient for the large eye spot. I start with the darkest of the 3 at the back and the lightest along the line there at the front before filling in the true eye with my golden yellow here. For the smaller eye spots is essentially the same thing, minus the gradient. I'm just giving it some cunty eyeliner, filling in the golden yellow of the eye itself, then bringing the navy blue back around again for the pupil. The shape of the eye, along with the bright yellow and the heavy contrast, immediately makes me think of the iconic French Le Chat Noir poster. I hope you see it too. After that, I could have called it quits, but it felt too flat, so after some analyzing, I realized that I never gave the moth her wing veins, which would have been criminal of me, hello. So I did that real quick by adding just a touch of the golden yellow paint to the tan mix I made, and diluting it with water so as to not overwhelm the entire piece. After that, because I would have started foaming at the mouth without it, I went in with my regular dose of pointillism, and I'm glad I did, because that's exactly what the piece needed to tie it all together, and give it the balance that it was missing in my opinion. Lastly, I painted the eyes a warm brown color. I painted the eyes a warm brown color, and gave the antenna a nice thick coat of resin because, as you recall, they are extremely thin, and therefore extremely fragile, so I had to fortify them with resin. And with that, we're done. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of my viewers so much, and if you made it this far but aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Pretty please. And also, if you want to see behind the scenes content like the cowboy hat I made for her, or the packaging video of how I boxed her up and shipped her off, then go follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Don't look at me like that. Come on, bro. I gotta get social media followers somehow, okay? Just go follow me. I'm not gonna tell you again, okay? Not until the next time I see you, of course. Speaking of which, see you next time. Bye!